Welcome into today's video, you guys. Today I am finally testing the TIRTIR Mask Fit Red Cushion foundation that has gone so viral. I have not watched any videos on this foundation. I know pretty much nothing other than it's gone viral and other than like what I was looking at this morning on the Stylevana's website. This is sold now. It looks like Amazon. Stylevana is carrying it. I don't know if TIRTIR has their own website or ships internationally because TIRTIR is a Korean skincare brand or just a Korean cosmetic brand, but they have a lot of skincare related items. I think this was like the only makeup item that I saw. I spent $25 on this particular foundation on Amazon, but I do see that it's on Stylevana's website for $18.75 right now, so it's on sale for whatever reason. I got mine in the shade 21C Cool Ivory. I do know that there was some buzz about the shade range in this, and so they did expand it very recently, which is interesting because I've never known a Korean cosmetic company to expand the shade range quite as quickly as they did once this went viral. So right now it looks like it comes in 30 different shades, which isn't bad for a Korean cosmetic company. So I want to read a little bit about this before I open it. Haven't opened it yet, don't even know how to apply it. I wasn't even sure I knew what kind of finish it had. It says it's semi-matte finish, that it's supposed to be weightless, long-lasting up to 72 hours of radiant glow with seamless but breathable cover. It says it's sweat-proof, transfer-proof, non-creasing formula, clinically tested to not smudge under mask. So I think that's what makes this viral, is that it's a foundation you can wear like underneath your mask and it's not gonna budge. Perfectly covers blemishes, imperfections, and texture. Lasts up to 72 hours, fixed in place, quick and easy application with portable case and blender, hydrating skin-friendly ingredients. It says flawless filter-like for up to 72 hours, perfectly conceals blemishes and redness, blurs imperfection and texture for an airbrushed skin. So if you guys don't know, I have calm but oily skin, more oily right now in the summertime in the humidity here, and man, I am sweating this summer. All right, let's get this guy opened. Here is the case. It's actually a lot bigger than I thought it was gonna be. Just kind of like seeing some of the people like with their thumbnails of this foundation. It's very lightweight. This is the little spongy thing that it comes with that I'm tempted to not use at all. Just not something that really interests me. I would rather just use a brush to apply this. Here is the protective cover. It comes with a mirror, and then you do have to like peel this off. And it's like one of those Danimals yogurts, you know, like this little aluminum foil flap. It's pretty hard. And there is the cushion. I feel like the shade is going to be a little bit too dark. Nope, maybe not. I think it's actually a really good shade match in terms of tone, but how will it be cool? Yeah, this looks a little bit more warm than cool. 21C Cool Ivory. It definitely looks a little bit warm. I just turned the brightness down just a bit. It looks super full coverage, you guys. And I had it on the back of my hand for a second while I went to go turn this brightness down and let it sit here. It does not dry very fast. It definitely has like a bit of dewiness that continues to last. But yeah, really decent coverage. Like this will be full coverage by the time it gets to me. We are obviously going to do a wear test on this foundation, you guys, and I will do a check-in on my phone, both right after application so you can see it in natural light, but also again at the 4-hour mark. And then I come back at the very end of the evening and sit down up here to show you guys how it held up on my skin. I want to look at how it says to apply it. How to use. Take a moderate amount with the included puff and apply an even layer on the entire face in tapping motions. So we are going to try that, at least to the right side of my face. We got to give it a shot. We got to try it. I'm sure everyone has tried it that way. So a moderate amount. I'm going to take the whole puff, and because it fits like perfectly in here, I'm just going to press it and kind of rock it back and forth. I don't know how much product is going to pick up evenly on this thing, but we're going to try it. Moderate amount. Is that a moderate amount? And then it says tapping motions. Okay. How is that gonna blend into my skin though? Oh my gosh, you guys. Oh my gosh. Oh, what I have no, other than oh my gosh, I literally have no words. You guys, this has to be pat in with something else. This is an incredible, I'm not even doing concealer. I'm going all the way up. This is so much. I have so much product on here. Okay, so when they say moderate amount, it picks up a lot more than it seems like it's picking up. I'm gonna try it as concealer because it's so humid out right now. I think I can probably get away with it. My under eyes are not as dry as they normally are or can get. All right, the shade match here, too deep, so we're going down, but I am not gonna tap it onto my neck. All right, tap, 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 tap. It's not a bad applicator. Look at the coverage on this. Wow. This is incredible. It's just, it keeps going. And you guys, I could literally do the rest of my face. I picked up way too much. Let's do it. Let's just take what's on this little puff and go the rest of the way. I'm gonna try and pick up some of the product from my other side of my face and like move it if I can. I don't hate the coverage level that I've given myself. Okay, I do have to pick up like a little bit more. I don't know how much picks up. Look. Is that a lot? Oh, so much more picks up than you think. This looks straight up empty. Like this whole puffy looked empty and it had so much more product on it than I realized. I think the reason that they want you to pat this is because it does like lift on itself. Like watch, if you go like that, you rub it, it does move. And so what they want you to do, I think, is like stamp this in to wherever you want it. I don't know if this is like the best at blending, like with a brush. I bet it would work just fine with a sponge, but let me do that. Let me take a Rare Beauty foundation brush and push it in here. And let's go like right here where I missed and see what it looks like with a brush. Just in case you hated that little puffy, like what would it look like if you actually brushed it into the skin? I mean, it's not bad. I feel like it's so much less coverage like that, and that's why they tell you to stamp it in. You could also stamp it in with a brush too. I don't think you need to use the puff. It says glass skin effect, but it also says like soft matte, which is an oxymoron. I don't think you can have both. I'm just like patting it under the under eyes because I definitely don't want it to be too thick. It doesn't say that it doubles as a concealer, but because it was such high coverage and I already had so much product, I'm going for it. We're gonna test it as a concealer too, we might as well. This is 0.63 fluid ounces, or ounces, it doesn't say fluid ounces necessarily. Okay, this is super tacky on the skin. Like really sticky. It's even lifting on my little finger. Like look at it. And it's pulling up some of the product onto my hand. It definitely feels like when I touch my skin, it feels heavy, but it doesn't feel heavy on my skin when I'm just sitting here. There's so many little bristles and things that like stuck to my face and stuck to this thing because it's such a sticky formula. And I'm interested to see if this oxidizes. It's already too dark for me. I shouldn't have gotten such a high up shade, but some of the ones online definitely look too light in the lightest shades, and that's why I always kind of get like stuck buying a shade that is maybe a little bit too deep, especially in Korean brands or even like C Beauty. I feel like a lot of the shades look really, really light, or they actually do come very, very light. Okay. I mean, that's super duper full coverage. You'd barely have to tap that applicator in if you really wanted pretty light coverage. I do think we need to set this though. This has to be set. And I'm gonna use this. I think this is phased out. It's my Dior Backstage Powder No Powder in 2N Neutral, which is basically the shade of what I'm wearing right now. So I don't think it's gonna deepen it any way, but I think my whole face has to be powdered because this is such a sticky formula. It's literally lifting as I'm touching it. Like even the powder itself, like putting it on, it's not like doing the trick necessarily. It's very, very sticky. It's still sticky, even with the Powder No Powder. But usually this, whatever radiance or whatever dewiness is left on a foundation will usually mattify it, so I don't usually worry. All right, let's finish up the complexion. I am going to use a liquid bronzer today, one that I really do like. It's the Physicians Formula liquid bronzer. It's only in one shade. I'm putting it on the back of my hand. I'm going to tap it in. I want to see how liquid products will sit on top of it, knowing that this is a little bit of a stickier formula. Is it gonna lift it because it's heavier? The way that I feel is I need to tap everything in because I'm scared that because it's so full coverage, or at least the amount that I put on, that anything that I brush on top of it is going to lift this foundation underneath. I'm just taking what's like left on the brush basically for my forehead. I'm feeling bronzy today. I'm feeling gold and I'm feeling bronzy. All right, for my blush, I'm taking a pretty new release. It's the Sun Blush from IT Cosmetics in Sunlit. I think this is shade 10. Quite a bit picks up on like a brush like this, which is a little bit flatter. So I'm tapping it off into the back of my hand because this is supposed to stand as like a bronzer slash blush. That's how it's marketed. And I already put a bronzer down, so I don't want too much of this. Now, I don't think that the shade that I have in Sunlit 10 is really like a bronzer shade. It's not like a duo, but I would wear this all by itself. I mean, I do often wear blush without bronzer. Okay, everything is sticking on top of it great, but you guys, if it's not the perfect shade match, I think because it's so full coverage, it's so noticeable. Like I can see how heavy this looks, like right around my hairline. Like this is so heavy. I put on a lot, you guys. I definitely wouldn't recommend putting on this much. And I'm interested to see how it wears, because right now it's really smooth and it doesn't look gross, but this is the kind of heavy that as I start to sweat, it could just break this foundation apart and make it look just terrible. But both cream and liquid products laid on top of it great. The powder, maybe not so much. I'm gonna take a powder highlighter. I'm gonna take the M Cosmetics Sunscape Highlighter in Clarity. I wanna see how this sits on top of this foundation plus this blush, I guess. I'm using swiping motions and it seems okay, but it also is not like sticking the greatest. This isn't like the most punchy highlighter ever either. I'm tempted to just put everything on in a stamping motion on top of this because you guys, it is so freaking sticky. It really is like lifting a little bit on my fingers. This might be something that if I end up wearing it with oily skin, that I end up using an even heavier setting powder, because what I used was not a heavy setting powder and it does not feel to be enough. All right, I'm trying to use this up. This is my Bite Beauty, I don't know, like bullet that I've had for ages. And there's just like this much left. So I'm trying to use this up. So I'm gonna wear this today. Oh, it still didn't use it all the way up though. Just layer it. That's it. I'm calling it, you guys. I'm calling it. I'm calling it done. I'm doing it. Doing it well. I hope this lipstick doesn't bleed everywhere. All right, here are my initial thoughts. I think it looks great on camera, but it definitely looks pretty heavy in person. I am very excited to see how this wear test goes as to whether or not my oils are gonna break this sucker up, because I have a feeling the humidity and my oils have a tendency to do that to even the best of foundations. Guys, it's heavy. I mean, it is so full coverage. My gosh. The only thing at the current moment that I'm absolutely worried that it's gonna do is as I start touching things or things accidentally touch my face, that it's gonna transfer. Like the transfer is gonna be so real. With all these other products on my face, it definitely feels heavy. I think there's a learning curve here, definitely for me. I didn't realize like how much was being picked up on that little puffy, and I probably should have like just moved it around instead of trying to target one side of the face to see how much coverage it gave me. I definitely would go in with a ton more less product, but we're doing a single wear test and your girl didn't know what to expect, so that's what we got. I'm gonna go show you guys what it looks like in natural light on my phone, and then I'll see you guys back here at the very end of the evening. I'm dying to see what the end of the evening ends up looking like, because this is so tacky. Like this, the amount of products that I put on was just so heavy, and it says that it's transfer resistant and all that, but like already it's not transfer resistant. It's the one thing I can tell immediately is that it's transferring just to even to my fingers. So here we go, you guys. We're gonna do an 8-hour wear test, so I'll see you guys back here in at least 8 hours. Bye for now. Hey guys, welcome back. It has been exactly 8 hours. Even my lipstick held on. That Bite Beauty made such beautiful lip products. I am so sad that they went out of business. But it is exactly 8 hours. So it's like 7:37. We still have some light left because, you know, sundown is until like 8:30, 8:45. But I had the foundation on at 11:30, like right at 11:30. It was like maybe 11:34 when I stopped filming. It actually held up really well, you guys. Like the blush held on really well, the highlighter held on really well, like everything held on to it really well. The only thing that I noticed was that because I had so much coverage, like it sank into my V here or my 11s. It did pull up on my nose, like it's come off right here. Kind of what I was worried it would do was just lift. The fact that it only really lifted in that area, like really says a lot. It's faded a little bit around my chin and forehead, but not a lot. It didn't lift as much as I thought it was going to. And I said that like right away, that I thought the first thing that it's gonna do is really just lift off of me because it was such high coverage. I would love to see what this looks like with less coverage, but even with this amount, my oils didn't like break it apart and make it look super heavy and grapey in the areas that I get really oily, except maybe like right here, just a little bit right around my nose. That would be like the only thing. So like the highlights here are pretty long lasting. I wouldn't say it's transfer resistant because this situation right here, I don't know what I did, but I also did like lie down. So everything held on really well, like through a nap, okay? I nap a lot during my wear tests. Well, because I just nap in general during the day sometimes. So I need to know that my foundation's gonna hold up. That's just how I roll because I love my naps. But I do want to powder over my nose right now to see like, okay, I want to know what you would look like if I just powdered over you like throughout the day. Okay, I think it's doing the trick here. This is not a heavy powder, but it does have some coverage. And look at that. I could just keep going. I don't think it oxidized at all. I don't think it got darker as the day went on, which is really good. Guys, I had like 2 meals through this lipstick, okay? I actually wiped it off too so that I could eat like a sandwich at lunch. And this is like the stain that it left behind. I'm telling you, Bite Beauty just had some of the most beautiful lip products. Anyway, I really did like the wear of this. And I do think it's full coverage, but I don't think it's transfer resistant. I do think that I would love to test it with a much more lighter layer. I think it's a beautiful product though. The packaging is kind of cool too. It's like a little UFO or an egg or something. Like, I don't know. It's gonna be terrible to store, but oh well, it's definitely worth reaching for. I'm not a huge fan of cushion foundations just because I love the way that liquid feels going on. I enjoy the process of putting on a liquid foundation, but this would be even good for travel because it's got a little mirror. And I actually think this puff was worth a dang because not a ton of product like seems to be left over on this little thing. However, it did kind of like stain the inside of it, but it worked really well. You saw that I applied the entire foundation with it. So you could just take this traveling all by itself. Like, this is actually a decent foundation. If I had tried this sooner, I might take it with me on my week-long trip that's cross-country, but I have the skin tint that I'm gonna take. Otherwise, I really might take this one. I do think it was beautiful, and I think everything laid on top of it really nicely. I think it worked really well for oily skin. I didn't sweat terribly today, but I did get my normal level of oily, and I really think this foundation had a lot to do with the fact that I didn't get super oily. Not a lot of them do. Even though they may claim that they do, not a lot of them do for me. I think this foundation definitely kept a lot of my oils at bay, but that brings me to the point of I don't know how well this would work for someone who had dry skin. I'm sure there are a ton of people out there with dry skin testing this out, so I'm sure there are a bunch of reviews that you guys can check out, but for me, I actually really liked this. I do think I'll be reaching for this again, so I'd love to hear your guys' feedback in the comments below. I'm out of here for today, you guys. I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you guys aren't currently subscribed, I'd love to see you subscribe. I'm out of here, and I hope to catch you all in my next video. Bye guys.